It is on your Boom Radio NG. Bid you a warm welcome to the bar this very wonderful afternoon. It has been a very interesting couple of 24 hours around Nigeria. You know, there's a lot of gist around Nigeria, and I think that it's definitely enough for us to come to the bar to come and gist about. The president seems to be having a lot of meetings with a lot of people. There's still a lot of gist around fuel subsidy removal. I'm guessing those meetings are not going to end anytime soon. So we will see how that comes up. The issue of the fuel subsidy is not going to leave anytime soon. There's NLC and TUC are in the news. Definitely, there's a lot of sports stories and a few stories here and there. There's a huge scam allegation out there.
It is not funny at all.
But
Even if we're laughing.
But it's an allegation, so you know. You don't know.
Let it not be true.
Yeah, hopefully, maybe not. I don't know. But you can now come and see that.
But we'll talk about that.
But definitely we'll talk about it right here at the bar. So sit back, relax, have your drink, and let's get right into it.
That's what it is.
So the news is starting as there's news that the president and 36 governors are having a meeting. They're in a closed door meeting, and you know it's not something we see a lot. Especially, I didn't see this happening at the beginning of his administration, though. It looks like there are a lot of things that we did not see coming. One of it is the fact that fuel subsidy was going to be removed at the end of May. We definitely didn't see that coming. But anyway, I was having a discussion with someone early this morning, and I think this actually comes to bear because I didn't think about it. Talking about the fuel subsidy removal, and she said that isn't it weird that even opposition governors are not saying anything like in contrary with this. They seem to all be going with it. Take case in point, the governor of Edo State. Remember the Naira redesign thing? And it almost seemed like when even the ruling party governors were opposed to it, it seemed like it was just a political move, that a lot of opposition governors seem to be for it. But on this one, the Edo State governor has gone the route of the Kwara State. In fact, according to reports, he has even increased minimum wage. What's the problem?
Yeah, something needs to be edited in the title.
Okay, so the
Restream affects.
So okay, I'm coming.
Yeah, Edo State governor.
So the Edo State governor, he even went ahead to increase minimum wage and reduce the number of days that I don't know how they're going to pay though, because if I remember correctly, okay, so.
Affects. Thank you.
So basically, he said, remember that he was the one that was going on about how salaries could not be paid and all that. You know, it's not really. To be honest, I think that since he left the APC, he used to be in the APC. If I remember correctly, his first term in government, he was an APC governor. He has not really been a huge fan of the APC government in recent times, but it was very surprising to see the proclamation coming from Edo State today. And you know, when we're talking about it, and then she made an interesting point that it seems like the governors knew that it was coming. There was no it doesn't look like there's a lot of opposition, even from opposition governors. They seem very
I don't think so.
Seated with the idea.
I don't think that the governors knew anything other than the fact that it was not captured in the budget. What I think is that for the first time, they refuse to play politics with it. It's politics.
Okay.
It's politics that brings out those dissenting voices for policies that you even know are important and you have to carry through. My opinion, that doesn't invalidate your friend's thoughts or opinion. It's just me knowing how politicians operate. Because as much as we all knew the provision for the budget was captured until June, the end of June, there was nobody, maybe Bola Tinubu alone, that knew that he was going to say there is no provision for it, it is gone.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure he must have called any of those opposition governors to say, hey guys, chill for me when I announced this thing at the inauguration ground. One of them would have leaked it. They don't like him that much. And they don't even like they don't like themselves that much. So yeah, the fact that he sits with them is because they also know that there is no money. They want allocations to flow. They don't want a situation where their monthly money is now held back when they tell them, we have used money to pay for subsidy and all of that.
So it's more of
it's a survival thing for them. That if we go and insist that the government, leaves this subsidy and they decide to still pay it, and they now come and tell us that, okay, finally now there's no money to give you for your monthly allocations. Because the truth is, the Nigerian government is broke. So Nigeria as a state is broke.
My issue with that is that I'm going to go back to the Edo State Governor's proclamation. We know for a fact that a lot of states are even having issues with paying 30,000. He even came out to say that I think that he was really talking about fuel subsidy. If I remember correctly, that if fuel subsidy is not removed or something, that the government might not be able to pay salaries after June. So maybe it looked like it was always in on the fuel subsidy removal thing. Yeah. My question is that I'm guessing that he already has a foolproof plan on how to pay salaries.
Again, it's still politics. You know how these guys are now. In rushing to increase minimum wage from 30 to 40k, right? It's just a 10k that they added.
Yeah, but
in rushing to do that,
it's not just
in rushing
10k.
Okay, in rushing to do it, my opinion is in being over smart. Because when they are done with this meeting today, and they set
there
up
might be an increase,
and they set up the committees. There's a tripartite committee, and the committee comes up with recommendations. It will be a uniform fee, and I can guarantee you it won't be 40k. It will not be 40.
More than that.
It will be more than that. It will be more than 40k. So in rushing to do it, it was nice. See, before they did, I did my own. So you guys chill for me. You know that I'm always looking out for you, and I just feel it's just politics, because
okay.
For a guy that did not see on the side of the people when he came to the Naira
redesign policy
that was actually affecting millions of Nigerians.
I don't know. The presidency has not said anything about Naira redesign policy. I'm lost.
No worry.
I thought it was supposed to
be step by step. It's
conversation around it.
It's 1 week, one trouble. Don't worry.
Okay, please, thank you. Please add the CBN governor's departure to it. Thank you.
Are you even allowed to say that?
Yeah. It's a suggestion. I'm a Nigerian. I should be able to suggest. That's it.
He's my guy. They should leave him. I support him now. You know that I'm the most vocal supporter of Emefiele, and I think he needs to go and rest. He has tried now. 3 presidents. How many CBN governors do you know that have served under 3 presidents? He has set a world record. If the Abbas itself still define a certificate for record, maybe they could give this man, make it a go, bros. Emefiele.
He wants to go on holiday or no. He wants to go to school. Please let him go to the school now.
No need to go and come back. You can just go.
Just go now. Be going. Be on your way.
So for me, I'm not that enthused about the Edo governors' pronouncement, but I'm happy about people keen into Governor Abdulrazak's, idea of a 3-day work week for workers. And I also want to quickly say something that might not really affect your salary as government workers. When are we going to stop calling them servants? Civil servants. I do not like the sound of the word servant.
Okay. Is very, very possible.
Civil servants.
What I want to talk about.
Maybe we should sponsor a bill, right?
With that, no, not interested.
JB warning.
What? Can't I not be interested in your ideas?
No, it's you being interested in anything at all.
This matter, this life, this indictment is very. You are still angry. Shouldn't I have a choice to say yes or no?
That's not anger.
Anyway, still talking about this fuel subsidy removal thing and people. So there's a very weird thought that I've had. So now a lot of at least 2 governors now have said that people should work 3 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Are we saying that the same work that is going to go on in 5 days is what would happen in 3 days?
See,
if it is, so why is everybody going to work every day anyway?
These are government workers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about many states, but I know that a couple of states that I have visited and I have observed, at times you wonder what the entire workforce is about. Like, okay, what are these guys really, really doing?
Yeah.
You get, you
Exactly.
start to wonder, like, okay. But one of the things that I noticed, and I heard from a politician a couple of years ago, when we were talking about some ideas about automating some workflow and reducing the staff strength, I said, don't even bring those ideas, because
it's more political than
this is
okay.
their way of creating employment.
So basically, just give people money without justifying.
No, they will work now, but they just, it's not as if they could not do it on a lean budget. On a lean working workforce. A lean workforce. Like, say for instance, if your state has employed 10,000 people, if you do a staff audit and you look at their workflow and you look at their workload, you might discover that 5,000 people will do a better job.
Yeah.
That means you have to lay off another 5,000, yeah? And no governor wants to do that. Rather than do that, they end up employing. Why do you think that when some governors are totally bereft of ideas, they just start employing SAs and PAs? You've heard stories of people employing as much as 5,000 people as special assistant or special assistant or special advisors, right?
Advisors, yeah.
Because they really cannot create employment. So the easiest and fastest way for politicians is to absorb people into this civil service. You understand? Say, okay, bring this. I've employed this person or this group of people. Someone had a special advisor on street lights or something in one of these states in the.
Just to pay people salaries. I get
that's what it is. Except people don't want to speak the truth about it.
Because it's always been an issue. I'm like, okay, so why do we need this many people? But
the lockdown. I keep going back to that thing. Showed us a lot of things. A lot of things
that
we could do without.
Yes, we could actually do without. I totally agree. Maybe because it's the government. Because I'm sure that a lot of people in the private sector lost their jobs. A lot of people had a lot more work. A lot of people. That's when remote work became really popular, and it still is up until now. I remember there was a particular person that was working in an office where they now reduced the size of their office. They moved to a smaller office, and each person had different days. So at some point, there were not more than a certain percentage of people in the office at that point in time, but work still went on.
And that's what the state governors of Kwara and Edo are saying now, that
instead of
work will
transporting
still
yourself
go
to
on.
work.
Yeah. I think one of the things that they really need to move fast about is mass transportation.
I think he's really going to do a lot.
We know.
I checked.
Yeah.
I think that I saw a video. I saw a video a few days ago. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago that the electric buses in Lagos State have actually started working?
Oh, they're fully functional.
They're fully functional, yeah. And I think that it's kudos to them. We know that the other BRT buses are diesel. There's been reports officially that there are obviously more people going on this mass transit buses.
Yes.
I think Lagos State needs to do more.
Yeah.
But at least they have a stopgap that would help a large chunk of people at the moment to, reduce that. Now, the problem is that other states need to do that. The federal government in itself, I think that if the federal government can provide buses, as much as, yes, state governments needs to do. Take, for example, Lagos that already has. Imagine getting buses from the federal government as well. That already...
Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever recall seeing, big buses that were labeled labor mass transit?
Where?
On the express in different parts of Nigeria.
No.
Labor mass transit. I saw it in Abuja. I saw it in your state a couple of years ago.
No, I've never seen that.
They had these buses. The Nigerian Labour Congress had these buses too.
It's only strike that they don't
You see,
have to do.
and this is where we need to tell them the truth.
This set of labor,
you guys started something that was also a revenue earner for you, which you could have used for your staff welfare, but also, and the funny thing, those buses, the services were not limited to only labor people. So people were interstate and intrastate and all of that.
Oh, nice.
So where are those buses? You see, these are the things that you're supposed to be looking at. Mass transportation. How you can provide, succor to the workers. They are left at the mercy of the
state and the federal government.
No, those ones are trying. State and federal government are trying. They have federal mass transit buses, and state governments, a lot of them have their own bus transport companies. They are left. Oh yes, they do. Oyo State has those buses. We saw them at the train station the other day. The big buses that look like BRT buses. Lagos has it. A couple of states have theirs. That's not the ones that they are at the mercy of. They are at the mercy of the private individuals that own the transport system. They are at the mercy of in Lagos is the yellow and black buses.
Yeah.
That would increase, their transport fares on a whim.
Yeah, they do. They definitely
someone
will.
Catches cold and there's increase,
So I can imagine how much the transport is going to be now in Lagos. Lagos that there's just rain. No, there's no increase in fuel.
Okay.
Rain, the prices go
they
up.
jack it up.
Now imagine they will now tell you that they are buying fuel at so price. It's good. I can imagine how much
even
those
based
things
on
will be now.
based on the volume and time of day. You find that you get a bus stop and a bus park actually, and the buses are charging say 200 naira per head. The next bus goes to 250 without nothing happening. Then 300. Then they get to like 400. Then they leave it there till the end of the day. Like, okay, what's going on here?
What just happened here? Lagos is not somewhere that. Okay, I plan. Okay, it's 500 that I'll take me to this.
To and fro.
Don't try
Uncle,
it.
You go walk
home. Do not try those kind of things. Anyway, now still talking about the fuel subsidy and transport. Yeah. Bolt and Uber drivers have decided to go on strike.
Sad.
Due to
personally for me
increase in fuel price. I honestly don't see how it makes sense. At this point now, we need to get with the program. It's obvious the federal government is not going to reduce, or they're not going to.
You think their strike is about subsidy reduction or?
I know that one of the issues they're having is that the companies are not going with it. So now the problem is that you're not making money. You're not making money for the company. I don't think people really stranded. Why? You just need to find alternative modes of transport. As much as the lag ride is not enough, I don't think lag ride drivers are striking.
So the whole concept of a cab hailing service, was like like a major leap forward in the area of taxis, especially in the place like Lagos and in a country like Nigeria, where you would negotiate. I remember when we were younger, they had meters. I remember clearly that taxis had meters in Lagos. The ones that didn't have meters were called kabu kabu. It's like kabu kabu. But the taxis, the colored ones, they had meters. And when you get in, the meter is started. You get to where you're going, you look at the meter and pay.
Okay.
That is the concept of Uber and Bolt. Because they came to save us from the regular cabs, the colored cabs. Because those guys, they remove the meters from their cars.
Oh, and then
they put it in their head.
They just do as they like.
And you know how difficult it is when you're trying to get on a cab and you're speaking to the cabman and he says, oh, you're going from maybe a 1 kilometer ride, and the man just calls a figure. Then you have to haggle, you have to go back and forth and argue. Then you even pretend like you're angry and you walk away. Then he's driving after you like he's toasting you and say, okay, yeah, enter, take this. That was terrible. I like things that are structured so that we don't have arguments. From here to here, this is what the app says.
App says, yeah.
I know that I can afford it. Then I get into the cab. If something happens along the way, traffic or whatever, well, it's not your fault or mine.
Yeah.
But someone has to pay anyway.
Someone has to pay.
So the problem that the boat guys have now is that the cab hailing services, especially the major ones, have not really adjusted their apps.
Is it that
they need to do it to suit the reality of today?
Yeah.
They need to do that. It's important.
I think that whatever it is, whoever comes up or whoever the app developers are, I don't think it is that. It should actually be that. What's the word now?
Maybe it's not just
that time.
Maybe it's not just about the configuring or reconfiguring of the app. Maybe there are other things that they need to consider.
And maybe they need to talk to them.
But whatever
it is,
the level
of going on strike, I don't think that
it's a business that depends on other people's vehicles, you know. Or what they've done is to provide a platform for those people to make money, and they make money also. And they also complain about the percentage that they get off the transactions, you know. So I think that if it's about that, the boat drivers they should do what they have to do within, you know, the confines of the law to get what is right for them.
Alrighty, so still talking about fuel subsidy here. There's one last interesting take that I'm going to do on fuel subsidy, and now this is not about Nigeria. Surprise, right? Not about Nigeria at all. We know that a few days ago we're talking about how some African countries, especially West African countries, a lot of them have been complaining, or a lot of prices have gone up after Nigeria removed its own fuel subsidy. It's very interesting how those things are happening, yeah? Now, one video surfaced today where it was said that bike riders in a certain part of Cameroon,
Garoua,
are protesting the increase in fuel in their own country, which is due to the fuel subsidy removal in Nigeria. And now they are warning President Bola Tinubu. Keep in mind, President Bola Tinubu, as of today, if I remember correctly, if my memory serves me well, is president of Nigeria, not president of West Africa, not president of Africa, not president of Cameroon, president of Nigeria.
Some people don't even agree.
That some people don't even agree. Oh, that's very true. Very, very, very true. Some people don't agree. Some people are in court to contest it.
Nah, there are hashtags to that effect now.
Some people are still contesting that presidency. You are now warning him about the fuel subsidy in Nigeria. If it is not meant, I don't know what it is.
Oh, well, someone said it is meant and other things. You know, it's funny how we had always known that fuel was being smuggled out of Nigeria. We had always known it. It's not new. We had always known. But I didn't know it was this bad. You know? And How do you wake up and start to complain about a policy that's happening in another country? It is funny how the same countries are quick to talk down on Nigerians and talk bad about Nigeria. Then, when it comes to Nigeria locking up our borders or removing fuel subsidy, you find out that they are the ones that are worth it. Look, someone said that person where they give scholarship, no, they pay another person's school fees. We cannot, at this point, be trying to take care of Nigerians and also be taking care of other countries, because even the Nigerians, they never see the thing never circulate. How is it now that they are now even threatening the president of Nigeria and warning him warning him seriously? Look, you better know what you're doing.
This statement that you made, I remember an interview. I was watching an interview of the group MD of NNPC, where he said that one thing also that the fuel subsidy removal is going to do is going to reduce the quantity of fuel that we're consuming. And he said that not because Nigerians are going to reduce the amount of fuel they're using, which invariably we might, because you're probably going you're going to reduce it.
We are watching our movement.
Yeah, you're watching your movement and all that. But he said also is going to cut the idea of fuel smuggling and all that, because if what you want to smuggle is already expensive, what's the point?
The margin is not what it used to be.
It doesn't. It's not. It's business. It will not make sense.
In the video that we're referring to that came out of Cameroon, one of them was saying that they used to buy fuel like 200 or 300.
Oh, you found the translate?
I did a lot of reading, then copying and typing.
Oh, wow.
I paused the video, typed what this one said, went to Google Translate, and now they're spending as much as 900 or thereabout.
How is that Nigeria's business?
Someone now. Then I went to the guy who made the original videos page on TikTok, Ahmad something. Ahmad Ajo 7, and I went to the guy's TikTok and I was reading the comments. So I'll copy the French comments, take it to Google Translate, copy the French, and someone was like, "Oh, if you get some other parties, 1,000." That
So are we saying that was the original price of fuel that should have been in their country?
Yeah, they were not even supposed to be buying, bootleg petrol from Nigeria.
No, that's what I'm saying. So this is what we're going to see. Definitely, there's going to be a reduction of,
you see,
quantity.
If there was going to be some kind of maybe the government should give us another minute of subsidy.
With all this thing,
lock it up, lock it, throw away the keys.
Oh my God!
Can you just imagine?
I think it's ridiculous, though.
Can you just imagine how someone from another country, it's like maybe someone from Mexico getting angry at Joe Biden that has removed subsidy on petrol in America. Do you understand?
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting.
Where's the sense in it?
Also, talking about fuel subsidy, the Labour Party presidential candidate had put out a statement yesterday where he was talking about fuel removal subsidy, how he had always advocated for it, how he actually thinks it's a scam, but that it probably should have been done with a bit of, or he would have done it with a bit of palliatives here and there. Now, maybe it would have.
A lot of people are saying it's a contradiction to what he has said.
Exactly. Now, there's a video of him before the elections where he said that once he becomes president, it will not last one day. He would have been removed immediately. So, how is it just political talk?
It's political talk, actually. I watched his video coming out of the court yesterday, and he even tweeted it, and he said that they pressured him to talk, and he decided to talk to the media. And he said something about how when Goodluck Jonathan removed or tried to remove subsidy, he provided sure P and other palliatives. Now, someone that was working with Goodluck Jonathan at that time has come out to refute this claim. Reno Mercury said, no, that's not what happened, and that's not how it happened. And we all remember that subsidy. I remember it was 1st of January of that
See,
year.
if me, I even know something. If I don't know anything in this life, I served.
There was no palliative.
I served in Shopee building, kind of the National Directorate of Employment, where Shopee was under. I don't think it had anything to do with fuel subsidy removal.
No, even if it did as an afterthought, even if they came, it did not come before the announcement. That's what people are trying to clear. That if you say that you're going to do it, you would have said it in that video too. That before I remove subsidy, I'll provide palliatives. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And these are the palliatives that I will provide. Now, the funny thing about it is that, funny enough, President Buhari's government actually provided 1 or 2 palliatives. They had done certain things before they got to this stage.
Yeah.
Then they got that 800 million.
From the World Bank. Now, my question
which
is
is solely meant for this purpose.
Where's that
Oh,
money?
the approval came now in the
so
last
where's
week.
The money? What's happening?
He will probably
I thought
access
they wanted
it.
to use to build buy buses and all those kind of things, because remember there was a lot of talk of mass transit, blah blah blah. I'm waiting for it to.
So I don't know.
Everybody has
I don't think the president has the fiat to just dip into 800 million and start handing it out now without having his government in place. So we know that they're winding down the 9th assembly as of today.
Yeah, today was valedictory service.
So hopefully
of the House of
he would go and inaugurate the 10th assembly. You know, once that pronouncement is made, then you can start talking about presenting the names of ministers. I think there's a process to the whole thing, and until that, there's no way.
Which is why I felt that the fuel subsidy removal should probably have happened after, if some of these things have been put in place. My personal opinion.
Yeah, we've said this over 1 million times, and I'm sure that he's done it because he believes that was the right thing to do at that time. Now, people don't need to agree with everything that is done, but when the results come, if they are positive, you roll with it. If they are negative, you can go back to say, we told you shouldn't have done it this way, you know. But until those things are put in place, you can't just wake up and say, okay, 800 million because I'm the president and I do not have all of these things that I should have. Oh yeah, everybody line up, come and collect your own share. You know, maybe at the end of the day, $10 go touch all of us. You know, it go reach us one way or the other. You know, so
like 10,000. Anyway,
inside $800 million, how many Nigerians? You are not part of the 50. You are not part of the 50 million that they are trying to give.
What's that supposed to mean?
You are not.
Which is another conversation, because when they always throwing up these things, 10 million Nigerians are giving Kiniko money every month. This and that, I'm like, okay, wait. Last I checked, I was in Nigerian. How do they pick out who to give and who not to give? We need to have that conversation.
There you go and apply now. Tell them that you are
How
one
do
of
you
the.
Apply?
You let them know that you are one of the poorest Nigerians that require this.
It's not a matter of being poor. It's a matter of dividend of being a Nigerian.
It's partially part of the prerequisites.
You have to be poor.
Yes, please.
I'm not poor.
So go and get it now.
Anyway, I think I deserve to collect money from my.
Let them know.
Anyway,
which is no way.
Talking about moving on from fuel subsidy, quickly, President Bola Tinubu has today sworn in former Benue State Governor George Akume, the Secretary to the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. So we officially have a new SGF. I saw a picture a few minutes ago where I think it is the photographer of the Vice President that took a picture of the former SGF, now former SGF, watching the inauguration of the new SGF. It was a very nicely taken picture. Yeah, it shows how power is transient. We need to, you need to always remember that in those things. But
what Nigeria needs the most, and because a lot of people don't understand, the office of the SGF has some roles to play.
Oh, yeah.
There are some parastatals that are actually directly under its supervision. Yeah. What Nigerians need is people who are willing to work. We like all the ceremony and all the due process. But we need results. Nigerians need to feel the impact of governance directly, and they must be seen, to be doing it honestly and transparently. So these are the issues for me. I didn't even know there had to be a swearing in again for the SGF, but congratulations to him. Now can we get to work? Now with SGF, now a lot of announcements can be made, a lot of appointments can be made.
To be done before anybody else, basically. So yes, so with
SGF,
now,
in case you're wondering, because we're just going on, is the secretary to the government
federation. So basically, a lot of things will now start to go on now, because a lot of appointments will now go through the office of the SGF now. So just wanted to put that out there. Now, before we leave the issue of the federal government has actually filed a case against vote buying and bribery charges against the Ogun State PDP gubernatorial candidate. Also, I think what's the word now? The manager of a certain bank. Basically, now remember that I don't know if anybody remembers the conversation during elections where there was, I think, some card that there was money
preloaded bank cards, ATM cards
that people were supposed to. I think they were giving out people. I think they said there were about 200,000 of those, or there was a certain number. Now, the federal government is saying that that's basically vote buying. So they're saying him, a commercial bank, and the managing director of the bank for conspiracy, bribery, and money laundering.
There's no coming back from this for the PDP's candidate. But the funny thing, let's quickly talk about the confusion that still, permeates the entire PDP in Ogun State. The state tribunal was supposed to start sitting on Monday, 2 days ago. And there was reports of attacks, And the most vocal person about this attack is Mr. Showumi, who
is not, or who we don't even know. What do you like? Who?
Do you understand? There's confusion now because you are not the gubernatorial candidate. The gubernatorial candidate for PDP in Ogun State is Ladi Adebutu. He's the one that they are now going to charge for vote buying or alleged vote buying.
Or more like one of the gubernatorial candidates.
So, but which one of them? Like so, anyhow, so congratulations, Shao. Maybe this one will even make it easier for Show-Me to now carry on with the case, because with PDP people, who did you even vote for?
Who did you vote for? That's a very.
I don't know how they.
But I remember there was actually
even after elections,
there was a court case that actually declared that Adebutu
exactly
governorship candidate.
So what was Show-Me going to do at the tribunal?
Anyway, we'll see how that drama is unfolding. As yes, there's also a lot of drama unfolding in Nasarawa State. You remember that we had talked about how the governor had put, what's the word now? He had there was a lot of inauguration of state assemblies done yesterday.
Theirs was postponed.
Theirs were postponed indefinitely. Now it looks like we'll finally see the reason why they're postponed, as the state assembly is now saying that there are 2 speakers.
How is that possible?
I don't understand.
There's supposed to be a session where all the duly elected members would pick one of them as a speaker, right? Who would lead the house for as long as they want him to before he's impeached. Or until he finishes his tenure.
Yes.
How is it possible that in the first day of parliament sitting there are 2 speakers? There's supposed to be just one mayor, one sergeant at arms, one session. I don't know. But you see, it's not new, and this is 2023 and it's still happening. Go and check Edo State and you understand what we're saying. They don't even have an House of Assembly because more than half of them are not even allowed, until elections, were conducted again. Let's see what's going to happen if Edo will finally reconvene now.
We'll finally reconvene, yeah.
In the same country, we've had a situation where a house that had 20-something members add less than 10 people sit and impeach.
A governor. Well, there's been a lot of drama.
So 2 speakers is even a plus.
It's not new. Oh my God, really?
At least now they have to. Maybe they can even run it. With the fuel scarcity. Now, sorry, subsidy remover. Exactly. They can even work out a system where they have a speaker on Monday, another one on Tuesday, so that they won't save they won't waste
save fuel.
Yeah.
Now I was going to ask, talking about this fuel subsidy.
Yeah.
And oh God, I actually just forgot. I remembered something that was really, really pertinent, and it just like
it will come back.
It will come back. Anyway, I hope that I remember before we leave. Now, moving on from that. Now,
congratulations to the 2 speakers of Nasarawa State House of Assembly.
Yeah, just mean.
Am I the one that chose them? Am I out of place to congratulate both of them?
You are mean. Just on.
Oh my God, why are you? Inside life.
You are just mean. Now, there's a conversation, talking about the NLC and the TUC and their ways of doing things. I feel that at times, maybe they need a legal department for them to show them how things are done properly. As Air Peace is now suing the NLC and TUC over flight disruptions. And they're seeking, I think, 1 billion naira, 1.7 billion naira in damages.
Mm-hmm. It's about time someone actually did this. We have laws, and if you watch the boom by a lot, you would think that I'm like this guy that is always talking about law. But yes, I am. I said within the confines of the law, because at the end of the day, now the law will catch you. And if the law hold you, bros, you nothing where you want to. There's nothing you can do. Mm-hmm. So here we are. And once someone just feels like he needs to take a holiday, he just calls his company and says, "Oh, Momo will strike now."
This happens.
They will still pay our salary now. And these guys get together and strike. Lecturers do it. Nigerian Labour Congress. Yes, I call you now. Now, so now they use strike anyhow. You people use strike like somebody's using toothpick. Even especially those people that will go to restaurants, they won't buy anything. They just pick toothpick and
the one that amazed me,
abuse of toothpick
with this one was
it should be a crime too.
The NLC and the TUC in Imo State had an issue with the governor. Mm-hmm. They didn't have an issue with Air Peace. They had an issue with the governor, and they felt the next thing they could do was disrupt the activities of a. Well, who advised you people?
Air Peace has a case. They have a good case, and let them know that some of us support their case, so that when we want to come around, we can come around. But it's wrong on all fronts to have taken your anger or your issues with a state government or a federal government to shut down or mess up someone's private business. Air Peace, as a Nigerian business, they're running on a clock. They have everything else. And again, by disrupting one airline, you can disrupt 10 others.
Yeah.
Because if the one that is scheduled to fly doesn't fly, the next one won't go.
Might not go. I don't understand what exactly the issue is, but maybe this thing will definitely teach a lot of people some lesson.
Maybe, just maybe.
Now let's move on quickly and let's go on to something very interesting. News that broke. Where a certain Nigerian fintech company, Tingo Group, was accused of scam by a U.S. investment research firm.
Yeah.
Now, this is still an allegation, but they come up with some compelling evidence.
Yeah.
And what my issue with is that why is it that it's not the first or the second that we've heard? I have a very silly question. It might just look very silly. I know that I've seen pictures and videos of this person. This person was on GQ magazine at some point. He is on a lot of magazines and doing a lot of this and a lot of that. If the story is really true, that there's some fraudulent or scamish issues on this matter, why is it that a lot of fraudulent people and scammers are very loud.
Yeah.
Why? Like, is it just common sense?
No. You see, you talked about common sense as if it is common.
I feel that for you to be able to pull off a level of scam, you are pretty intelligent.
Yeah, but what about emotional intelligence and other forms of intelligence?
Take, for example, the likes of Hush Puppy. Anybody seeing his Instagram page will know there was definitely something that was not adding up. What happened?
Well, it's not anybody. What most people saw was someone living la vida loca, living, the flex lifestyle.
Okay. Now,
baby boy, he can buy anything, drink anything,
baby boy of
go anywhere. You
boy
understand? Now, in the case of this person, if these allegations are true, he also falls into the same category because a lot of these guys are actually poor upstairs.
Like, I don't get it. Like,
they feel the need to impress. They feel the need to oppress. But again, if you understand their business, it is advertising. To a large extent, when people see you as wealthy, they see you as rich, they are willing to part with their funds. Look at it from another angle.
Okay.
People look at someone and say, the guy bought
It's
Rose. He bought a Rose Phantom.
Okay, so it's marketing.
It's a form of They say package it.
Packaging. Okay.
So it's another marketing strategy for some. I'm not saying all of them.
At least
for some of them,
it's kind of like, okay, people know that you have the money, so you can't steal their money.
When the guy comes out to tell you that he just bought half of it, of one state in Nigeria, you won't argue now. You'll be like,
so how much is my money that I want to give him?
How much is it? So when he tells you that, are you willing to buy into this business is worth X $1 million, you could give him the money now because you are thinking that it's legit. And he has the money. You don't need your money, So for some of them, they do it for that purpose, Some of the scam engineers or scam people of Nigeria. Yes, so they.
Oh God, scam engineers.
They would invite, their marks from outside Nigeria, especially in the 90s. This was a thing. They would invite their marks and take them to the central bank and take them to government house. Now, you see, the mark doesn't know it's not the real central bank office, and he doesn't know it's not the real government house. But when he sees the man's convoy of like 25 cars with mobile policemen and regular police and the entire shebang, he would now say he won't part with the money when they come to pick him at the airport in VIP style. Do you understand? Okay. So at times they package themselves to look rich and wealthy to attract more funds for themselves. Some, on the other hand, are just people who feel that if they do not show off, people will not recognize who they are. And if you notice, you see the real guys, I'm not saying they are all saints too, but most of the really, really rich people that are acknowledged, they don't make that much noise.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
it doesn't mean that they are not living that life.
Do you understand? Your money is your
money. It doesn't mean that they are not living that life.
I don't have to tell you how much money I have. It's my money.
There's a drink, Azul, that I think costs about 250, 300k. There are like 3 types of it. And when people buy it, they need to make a video about it. Like, we don't buy Azul, because it has a cap. So you can drink from the cap and you squeeze back together and all of that. Have you ever seen any of the top 10 richest Nigerians drink Azul?
No.
Have you seen them drink Dom Perignon or any of those very expensive wines?
They probably drink stuff more expensive.
They drink if they want to drink, but they don't make videos about it. They don't make noise.
And then those kind of things, you pour it into what are those bottles called? You don't just
crystals
and all that.
Yeah, sure you get. So it's one on the one hand is a person who wants to be seen as rich needs to show he's rich, while a person who is rich does not need to show he is rich. There's no need to. there's no need for Dangote to come out now and say,
y'all know he's rich.
that-
Y'all know
that,
he
yo,
has
yo,
money.
yo, yo, I'm
yo.
going to buy a house at Banana Island. Man can buy the old Banana, or maybe even create his own Apple Island or
At
something.
this point, you know.
You know, we like fruit islands in Lagos now. Banana, apple.
You know.
So maybe he will just make his own coconut island or something. You know.
Anyway, let's move on quickly, and let's move to a little bit to sports. As I saw one very interesting headline earlier that UFC's Kamaru Usman and Francis Ngannou graduate from Harvard Business School.
Amazing move by these two young men, one from Cameroon, originally one from Nigeria. Young men who found their way to America, live the American dream. They're living the dream as it stands. Champions of the UFC at some point in time.
Yeah.
You know, and Ngannou has had a run-in with the owners of the franchise and some other things, but he's still standing strong. Same with Kamaru. But the smart thing about this men is that they're not resting on their oars. They're not resting on their brand. They're trying to, get more knowledge. Because with knowledge,
it will even be easy to diversify and all that.
To be honest, I don't see what's wrong with them pulling their resources together to start their own franchise, their own mixed martial art franchise. Maybe concentrating on Africa alone, for starters.
Yeah, maybe.
You just never can tell.
You never can tell. I'm talking about school. Yeah. I saw a couple of days now. A few days ago, I saw a video of a popular Fuji musician, Pasuma, where they had shared pictures of his son that graduated high school in the U.S., was a valedictorian, has gotten like 20 schools, gotten scholarships and all that. And I think that it's a very, very good thing to see. At times, I feel that, if you can't do something and you have the opportunity to let your children, this life, I think it was very impressive. Now, yesterday, the very interesting one is the very popular, I don't even know what to call him now. He's the head of the Lagos transport system, yeah? Parks. MC Olomo, there's a picture of his own son also graduating from MIT with a GPA of 4.0. I think it's very, very fantastic, very impressive. Now, a lot of people have now been going on to do a bit of trolling to the Labour Party governorship candidates. That, okay, you made it seem like MIT was something that nobody else could graduate with. And I'm like, why do people have
I don't agree with the trolls. I think Badebo deserves his bragging rights as a graduate of MIT. I think that MC Olomo's son also deserves his bragging rights as a graduate of MIT. They both went to a very good school. One of the things that we need to see here is that if you have a progressive-minded parent, regardless of their status, or their state in life, they always want the best for their children. They always want better. I went through this, I think you should get better. So, man, kudos to Pasuma, kudos to Oloma, kudos to all the mothers out there. You've seen videos of people who graduate from school and go sit down with their moms in the market or their dads in the mechanic workshop. And you think, oh man, so you came out of this situation and this is who you are. You see your mom selling bean cakes. We call them akara. And she actually used that to send like 3 or 4 kids to school.
Yeah.
If she had saved that money, she probably would have built a house somewhere or whatever. And she had invested in her child's future or her children's future. So it's an opportunity for me to say kudos to all the good parents out there, male, female, and the aunties and uncles who are all, impacting in the life of these children. You are helping us build a better world and a better country.
Yeah, of course. Quickly, also, still talking sports quickly. There's now a 5th bid by Sheikh Jassim for the purchase of Manchester United. Now, this is supposed to be his 5th and final bid.
Yeah, the Glazer family, who have held Man United by a stranglehold for so many years, need to realize that the game is up. They've made all the monies that they can make. They put all their liabilities on one investment, and it's paid off over and over again. the team has been held back. There's been stagnant, and they've just allowed them to hold their head above water, just slightly above water. The Sheikh wants to outrightly buy out the team. You know, they want to buy out the team and invest, and they talked about their plan. I studied a bit of it, and I said, this sounds good. The other major bid is coming from, I think, from Sir Jim Ratcliffe,
Yeah.
whose proposal too is actually good. But the problem that a lot of fans have with his proposal is that the Glazers will still have some kind of say or some kind of involvement. So I would rather have a total clear out of the Glazers. They've done enough evil for Man United. I think it's time that they left. You know, so it's a take it or leave it offer.
Or leave it offer, yeah.
I hope that they'll have enough sense to take it.
Okay, we'll see how that goes quickly. As also news broke, as Di Maria, Argentine winger, has announced his departure from Juventus just after 1 year, and there's also talks of him maybe finally landing in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia already mapped out a certain amount of money. The gist that they're looking for a situation where the all-stars of the Saudi Arabian League will play the all-stars of Europe and all of that. And so they already have Cristiano Ronaldo. They actually started with Odion Ighalo and a couple of other Nigerians. Now Odion has left. So Al Ittihad now has Karim Benzema.
He has Karim Benzema. There's talks of
now N'Golo Kante, you know, might be on his way to Saudi Arabia. They're talking to him. They're offering him some mad money that I believe he deserves. You know, I believe it deserves it because the guy's work rate and all of that. He deserves to live the baby boy life too now. So from the look of things, if Ronaldo can go spend close to a season there and says he's not leaving, then there's a Karim Benzema that says I'm going there for 2 or 3 years.
There's a Di Maria. There's even talks of, I was reading today that even Messi, is between him going to the MLS and going to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, excuse me. If Messi goes to the MLS, it's a backdoor. There's a backdoor for him to go to Barcelona, because the calendars of the MLS and the European League are not in sync. So in the off season of the MLS, he can actually go and play for Barcelona and go back to the MLS, and he's still going to get some mad money. But if he goes to Saudi Arabia,
their money is
anyway. It's called Arab money, oil money.
Okay, finally, before we go, now a Brazilian state has now approved what they call Vini Junior's law against football racism. Now they're talking about how there's now going to be, they're waiting for the governor to sign this bill into law, and how footballers, a lot of people that do or say racist things to footballers are going to be properly punished now.
I hope this is going to be a catalyst for a proper anti-racism law that will be a global thing.
I agree.
You know, Vini was racially profiled and abused, and the La Liga was going to sweep it under the carpet with the others that have other racist issues that has, you know, permeated that league and other parts of Europe. So Vini's law might sound funny because it's in one state or something, but if it becomes a national law, then international law, it will help, because until you have experienced racism, you don't know how painful it is. I have, and I don't want anybody to, because I don't think there's nothing that makes me special than the next man, and I don't think there's nothing that makes you special than me, you know. But when you think because my skin is dark and yours is lighter, then I'm inferior to you, yeah, maybe a law should be brought in to put people like you in check.
Okay, and on that note, that is all we have to take today on the Boom Bar. Thank you for listening. Thank you very, very much for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. West African time to give you another wonderful edition of the Bar. Do have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead.